Bates's brand. She also has the Shar Bates show. A little bit more about Shar Bates. She's one of the people in Atlanta that was kind of like me. Like if I was doing DJ showcases with artists, like a lot of DJs didn't want to do that booking because we were getting dragged by all of these no-name artists and stuff. But I'm one of the people that said, okay, I want to do it. And that's kind of how I got here. And Shar was right there with me running the red carpets and giving everybody a voice of the media for Atlanta. And it wasn't just red carpets that you did either. What else was it that you did?
Uh, I've, I've hosted some of everything. I've hosted at the Georgia World Congress Center. I've done red carpets for the Super Bowl. I've, done diversity conferences. I've spoken to hundreds of thousands of kids. Like, we've been out here.
Yes, we have. And, I really have watched Shar's just whole persona grow into like this wonderful leader in the past year. And one of the things that she was talking about during our first neighborhood coalition meeting was about how the media tried to tell her that they didn't want her talking about certain issues and how she responded to that. So I'm going to go ahead and let her talk about what happened with that and how she responded to it and everything.
I mean, uh, just a little while ago, they didn't want radio and TV hosts and analysts and contributors talking about police brutality unless you were on the side of, law enforcement or with, certain political parties. And, in this industry, when you're looked at as a superstar, people want to control, your energy. And as I was growing, they're like, yeah, we love you. You super dope. But, we got you if you could just, kind of tone down some of the police brutality talk. And I'm like, it kind of piqued my interest even more. Like, why is that such a problem? And I just started to see how much more of what was happening versus what was being told to the public. And it just made me want to be more involved.
Right, I got you. Yeah, I feel that because I feel like every day that I get out here, I'm like, oh, what brand am I offending? What type of situation or partnership am I messing up by, being so gung ho about civil rights and human rights in this era with everything that's happened with George Floyd and Eric Garner.
But
You could
honestly, like
even,
it didn't even like it was like that. But right now, like any company that is offended, that is actually
a good thing. That's
so
but that was going to be my point is that we don't want to work with those people anyways. They don't.
exactly.
Yeah, that was like how everything was ending. I was just like naming some of the people like Tamir Rice, and that's when I can never get over that. Just like how this, sorry to get political for a second, but how is this kid
No,
that is
for
17 years
real.
old going to run around with an AK-7? What is it, AK-47? And that is okay, but Tamir Rice could not play with a toy gun in his own neighborhood, and he was
And
12.
they justified it is what's
Yeah.
crazy, And so um I'm happy that we're at a time where you can't even ignore it anymore.
Mhm.
You can't say you don't see it.
Exactly. So my vote is hip hop. How did my vote is hip hop come to play and become the brand that it is today?
Honestly, it came from, I didn't like how everybody's like, oh, you gotta be Democrat, you gotta be Republican. And then as you look at the history, like, well, neither one of them is really like, oh my gosh, they're so amazing. And so, what I will vote for is the people, is for hip hop. And
Hmm.
with hip hop is about having the freedom of speech to say whatever it is, say your truth, whatever it is, put yourself out there, and it started off as an artistic expression. The epitome of my vote is hip hop tells the story of how the United States judicial system took rap in its beautiful form, how it started with F the police, and you know what I'm saying, this whole fight the power, and turned it into gangster rap and all this promiscuous behavior, and shoot them, kill them, all of this stuff to fund to be used as a vehicle for them to pack the prison industrial complex as they grew the private prison industry.
Right.
So just imagine uh, they used our gifts and creativity against us to our demise. Because if you're sitting up listening to people talking about, killing them and this, that, and the third, and those are the people with money, and then that influences people in your neighborhood to start selling drugs that's already placed there, so they use that as a way, to for our own demise. And now we're sitting in a place where the prison population went from 500 to a few million in just a few years. And
Mm-hmm.
so my vote is hip hop is about, letting people know what's going on and rebuilding. We're trying to unravel some of the injustices that has been done to our communities. And when I first started, Queen, honestly, I got started because of what Kemp was doing when he was stealing the election from Stacey Abrams.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the I just happened to attend a march, and I hadn't been to one in forever because everybody know I was already done with marching and protesting. And they were like, "Man, that was really powerful what you just did." When I turned around the video really quick, they was like, "Do you know what Kemp is doing?" I said no. And when he found out I was a radio host, he was like, "You a radio host?" He was like, "Oh man, do you know what Kemp is doing?" So when I found out what Kemp is doing, and I seen that nobody our age in the entertainment industry was not really talking about that, but what was going on the news and with older people, I'm like, yo, like we have to find a way to let the community know what's happening,
Mm-hmm.
because we need to be involved. And I just knew that I had my nonprofit for about 10 years, so I've done a pretty good job of fusing, um, the community with hip hop in the nonprofit sector. So I'm like, can I do this with the political and community sector? And honestly, within just a few weeks of us taking on this task, we were able to raise millennial voting by 400% that election.
Wow,
So,
that's amazing.
that's where we started at.
Okay, that's dope. So, the Neighborhood Coalition, what is all that about?
Oh man, listen, the thing is that we call black areas or urban areas, you know what I'm saying, hoods for neighborhoods, but they really are supposed to be communities. When you go into upscale areas, they have communities. They have neighborhood associations, meaning that they're not only taking out of that community, but they're pouring back in. You know what I'm saying? Most urban communities, you got all these different races coming in, making money and taking out, and then we even throwing trash and different stuff, partying and taking pictures, but who's giving back? So I'm a strong believer of us just coming together and making sure that we actually take care of our own. We see what's going on with the police. You got the blue flu, you got them showing up to the people that's calling the police, killing them. Well, we got to take more responsibility. We've been watching this happen for a long time. Like, what are we going to do about it? So, the Neighborhood Coalition is me and different concerned and dope, and people within the community like yourself coming together and saying, hey, you know what, we're going to make a change. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to start turning these neighborhoods into communities. So we getting out here, we're doing our first security training coming up, this month. We're doing everything from training to, we cleaning up the hood. We gonna help mow some grasses. We're gonna be planting some trees and flowers. Also patrolling. Also making sure that we get out there and provide more resources. And so when something happens, they know who to call, and we actually know the neighborhood versus, you know what I'm saying, people that's coming
Mm-hmm.
out there that don't care about those people. And I mean, y'all see what's going on. Our job with My Vote is Hip Hop, period, is to arm the public with knowledge, and you make the decision on what you're going to do. We just
Right.
want to provide people with the resources and opportunities to actually get involved, because some people don't know what to do. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Do
And
they have
so,
a chamber of commerce in the one area? Is there like a chamber of commerce or any type of city hall just for that neighborhood, or is it would be the Atlanta City Hall for the Bluff and the West Side?
for the Bluff and the West Side, that's actually Zone 3.
So Zone
Um,
3. Okay.
Yeah. That's zone 3. Oh, for what she's
Yeah.
talking about, y'all. Our first neighborhood that we're gonna be going and cleaning up, will definitely, well, one of them will definitely be the Bluff. But yeah, I mean, honestly, y'all, it's crazy. The Bluff, which is one of the worst neighborhoods in Atlanta, is down the street from the AUC, down the street from ain't the Benz Stadium $100 million
Yes.
stadium?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
down, like literally, y'all, you can walk. So all y'all that love to come to Atlanta, you better not make the wrong turn if you over there by the Benz Stadium. And see, this is the whole thing. It has to be more of a distribution of wealth, because that
Right.
doesn't make any sense for it to be all those poor people literally next to a stadium that makes hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, with that being said, I think one of the things that we need to make sure that we do is we're at the council meetings where they're talking about what's going on in the neighborhood, because that's one little small thing that people forget, in the Chamber of Commerce and just like things like that. You know what I'm saying? So, you
You
know,
definitely got to be involved, because it's like right now, right? Everybody's talking about like Biden and Trump, but the local elections, those national elections does not affect us nowhere near as much as local elections. Look at what just happened. Regardless of whatever Trump is saying, Kemp and Keisha and them had the last word.
yeah, exactly. That's true. And then you just said there was the election that just passed. What was it, for the district attorney?
Yep, for the district attorney for Fulton County.
Okay. And there was actually a candidate that we didn't even find out about till late. Mr.
Man, let me tell y'all how powerful we are. We didn't find out about Christian Wise, who was in his 30s with 4 arm tattoos, who was actually in the system.
Mr.
He was running
Wise.
for DA. We didn't find out about him until what, 2, 3 days before the election. Y'all, he was running against Paul Howard, who was been in that seat for over 20 years, and Fonnie Willis, who was backed by the police union. And we jumped behind him and got that man 30,000 votes in 2 days.
That's
Y'all, you
amazing.
only needed 50,000 to win. So
Mhm.
honestly, we cost Fonnie the election. Fannie should have already been the DA, but they actually got pushed into a runoff because of how many votes Christian got. So just
Mm.
imagine if we did all of that with just 2 days of campaigning.
Two
If we
days.
were to actually get behind, that's why My Vote is Hip Hop is here, y'all. Because we gonna tell y'all who doing their job, who not. You know what I'm saying? Just to let y'all know, we have never gotten behind a candidate as an organization. So if we get behind a candidate, please believe that we have vetted them, and anybody that is running against them, you better watch your feet, because if listen, with
Mhm.
look, listen, we got some hitters on our team, okay?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, exactly. So, I just want to let you guys know too that I just recently was taking a cultural marketing class, and one of the things that I learned was that in 2015, 1.2 trillion and 1.4 trillion by 2020 black dollars were spent in the with the world economy. Okay. So that I just want to reiterate how important it is to support Black businesses and shop Black and buy Black. Even not being a Black person, that doesn't even matter to me. I mean, I'm lucky because my business is Black owned already. My one of my business partners and my whole family, so I'm lucky with that. But still, we've got to make sure that we shop Black, buy Black, support Black. Because did you just hear what I said? 1.4 trillion dollars. This is from University of Georgia Selig Center in economic growth. That's 275% growth since 1990. So,
And we don't own, and we do not control any industry. When you think of hair, you think of the Chinese. When you think of gas stations, you think of the Arabs. When you think of, I mean, it's so many industries. When you think of those industries, oh, that's this, that. We don't own anything.
it's so important. That's why another reason why it's so important to own your masters too in the music
Woo!
business. I said something then, just didn't I?
That is very important right there. You own your masters. You own yourself.
Yeah.
You own your masters. They can switch it up, flip it, chop it, screw it,
Mhm.
whatever they want.
Yeah, Black America and Blacks all over the world are going to definitely keep running the game when it comes to music. So it's time that's one way that we could take ownership of that. You know what I'm saying? and that the ownership can be taken by our community is by owning your masters and not accepting these huge, that's the thing, these huge advances that they try to give artists, they have to pay that back. And it
They
has
don't
interest.
tell y'all about that.
It's not just for you to trick off with. It's for you to invest it.
They definitely be tricking off with it.
I know, girl. That's not what it's for. It is for marketing, because that's probably one of the biggest things that I hear. Like, dude, I see artists every day. They're rich as heck, have all kinds of money. And then when you try to give them a marketing budget, hey, $50 a day on ad spend just on social media, and they act like that's too much.
And then they come in there with these $10,000 mouths, with these $50,000 necks, with these
Paying Lucky the money.
$1,000 feet, with these $1,500 belts, telling you that they don't have any money for marketing.
So that
And
means you spent your money in the wrong place.
is the most important thing, because your marketing gives it legs. You can have a hit single, but if don't nobody know about it, nobody knows about it.
Exactly. So it's all about marketing, and that's one of the things that I'm going to be doing to help my vote is hip hop is marketing.
Hey,
because that is what I do.
So before I go, we're doing rent reparations. We know that COVID didn't hit hard. We know some people was out there balling, you know what I'm saying, and then they got chop. And then there's some people that actually never received anything and have been struggling, and so we're just trying to help them out. So for the next couple days, we are doing rent reparations to help pay rent for 5 families. So please, anything that you can chip in or help with, you can go to myvoteishiphop.com, and we are very honest. You can actually see the meter bulb right there on where we are and how much we've raised. So thank y'all so much for your support, and you can find more about us right here on myvoteishiphop.com, and follow me. I am Shar Bates, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming.
You are amazing. If nobody has told you lately, and for anybody, it's a lot of people that's out here, clouting and capping with the movement. I can attest to the fact that she has been out here for a minute. She has been an advocate. She's been an ally. She's been about us. She's just been about people. She just has a dope spirit. I just ran across a picture of us at the movie Birds of a Feather from like 2-3 years ago. And when I tell y'all, she has always had the same beautiful, dope spirit. And you're so humble.
Thank you.
So thank you for everything that you do. You have done something that I haven't seen anybody do, with this fusion of music that you've done with the Caribbean, American pop, and just all this different stuff. You just all around dope. So I'm on some giving people their flowers now type stuff.
Thank you. Well, shoot, I owe it to you guys. You guys are the one that chose me to be the vessel, as the DJ. I've just played the music that you guys sent me and made sure that I showed up when it was time to DJ for the performances and stuff,
Hey, but some don't do that. So anyway. Appreciate you.
All right. You heard her here first. Root Girl Radio. Make sure you follow her. I am Shar Bates. My vote is hip hop. Let's go.